You know, it's funny. I feel like I've worked in Cleveland forever, and I've been here a long time. It's been over 15 years that I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
obviously the longest stop of my career. It will be the longest stop of my career, and it will be the last stop of my career, probably, hopefully. I bring that up because LeBron James is the only active player that predates me being in Cleveland. Which is because he's just been around so long.
Yeah.
I feel like every now person I've covered their whole careers here, but not him.
Yeah.
And so when we started talking about this off the air about the reaction when LeBron made the decision and then when he came back for the first time, I was like, I can't remember. Well, the reason I can't remember how bad it was is because it happened before I came back, because it was a year before or not came back, the year before I came here. So you were here, Jason. Not only were you here, but obviously you were covering the team. You were in the arena.
Yeah.
The vitriol when LeBron came back. First of all, try to give us a feel for those who may not have been in the building.
It was December 4th, 2010, I think. It was the first week of December. He knows the date. Like, he knows it like that.
Yeah.
That night impacted him to this day.
Yeah.
I've never... Whatever Browns fans want to conjure up for Deshaun will not come anywhere near that night.
Right.
That was the most hate-filled night I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
It was 20,000.
No cheers. None.
None.
Yeah.
20,000 angry, spiteful people who felt scorned.
Yeah.
That's it's a crock pot of hate. It was just a crock pot of hate. And security was they had brought in extra security for that night.
Yeah.
And I remember I went down by the tunnel when the Heat were coming out, and there was like a zero tolerance policy. So LeBron starts to run out on the court, and some guy just jumped up just to yell at him. That's all, like, you suck, like that whole thing. Just jumped up, and they grabbed him and said, out.
Yeah.
That's it. All he did was just jump up and point.
Right.
Out. Got kicked out. Moondog shows up in a bulletproof vest. I mean, it was a joke, but it wasn't. Like, Moondog's out there waving the flag at midcourt with a Kevlar vest on.
Oh, my God.
And that's when I knew. I was like, this is something different.
Yeah.
This is a different
level. Did you talk
level.
to him that night?
Bron?
Yeah.
Yeah. I went, and I had no relationship with him at the time because I came on as the beat writer.
True. Yeah.
As he was, that's the summer I took over.
Oh, funny.
So I had no relationship with him at the time. But the team was staying at the Four Seasons, and a few of the writers went to the Four Seasons, and I saw him in the lobby prior to.
Yeah.
And you could just tell then, like, he was not sure what to expect in that night. And then in the locker room, they had cordoned off, like the Cavs visiting locker room at the time, it was kind of oddly shaped.
Yeah.
And they basically had like police tape up over the back corner of it, the back side of it.
Jeez.
And it was all for him. And there was no media allowed within like 10 feet of him, basically. Right. It was that whole night. No, I don't care if it's 60,000 versus 20,000.
Yeah.
Nothing will top that.
I'll give you another reason why it won't, just after hearing your story in a second. But one last question about LeBron. Do you think ultimately that the way the anger that, and you said he remembers the day, do you think it played even a role at all in him ultimately coming back? You think that's where the seed was planted about coming back, or you think he was always going to come back?
He was always going to come back.
Okay.
And I talked to Pat Riley about that.
Yeah.
And Pat said, like, that's home. And he had to go back and make things right. And Pat told me, I knew one day he would go back.
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was going to be that fast. Pat thought he had more time with him than those 4 years.
So the reason why ultimately you're right is that with LeBron, every one of the fans that hated him that night loved him.
Yes. And it was a betrayal. It was a level of betrayal.
Fair or not to how fans looked at it, the hatred they had was because they were hurting so much.
It stemmed from love. Yeah.
Yes.
Because they once loved him.
And nobody loved Deshaun Watson here.
No.
You might have been like a lot of us who thought it was a good trade at the time, but you never loved him.
Correct.
You never felt warm and cozy about Deshaun Watson. He was never one of us, one of you.
That's exactly right.
LeBron was.
And a lot of the disgust, while pointed at Deshaun, is also more so aimed at the organization. the Browns in general.
That's right.
And in this, it was LeBron. Nobody was mad at Dan Gilbert.
Right.
Nobody was mad at the Cavs.
Right.
It was all on him. And with Deshaun, I think a lot of the boo and a lot of the resentment and anger is actually geared toward the organization, but
That's
they
right.
can't boo the organization as a whole.
Right.
They can't boo Jimmy, but they can boo Deshaun.
Yeah, and also, not every fan's going to boo, because I've already seen on social media a lot of fans like, don't boo because we got to support our team. And even if you hate Watson, you kind of want to, you don't want the whole crowd booing. Like, there's going to be a lot of people that are like, that's not going to help my team win.
Yeah.
So, whereas fans did that night, I assume fans didn't care.
Oh, he was the enemy.
Yeah, right.
He was the enemy.
Right.
You
You're booing a guy on the other team.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just can't be that level. Now, will there be a lot of vitriol? Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
But it won't be, like you said, there was nobody cheering for LeBron.
No, that was why. I mean, there may have been some people from Akron.
Yeah,
Because there
whatever,
were still
yeah.
people from Akron who
A
still supported
handful,
him.
but-
He went to the free throw line, and
Yeah.
the entire arena was chanting, "Akron hates you." Like, it was.
That's
not
crazy.
true.
Yeah, it was. I remember him at the free throw line. Akron hates you.
I mean, it's a catchy tune, but it's not true.
It was.
It's the right amount of syllables, because a chant needs the right amount of syllables to
Yeah,
actually work.
right.
That works. Jason, before the show, I asked you, hey, do you remember how LeBron played in that game? And you said he played fantastic,
He was
right?
phenomenal.
Some guys can channel that energy into their on-field performance, whether it's a positive fan reaction or a negative fan reaction. I think I know how you guys are going to answer this, but I want to ask anyway. Do you see a world where Deshaun can turn that negative energy into a positive performance on the field? Do you think you can channel
you know
that?
the answer to that question.
No.
There's no
No.
chance.
I don't think he's
His reaction in a preseason game tells you all you need to
Yes,
know. That's
yes.
where he is mentally.
Yeah.
I mean, he is.
He told you, I don't know.
Yeah, right, exactly.
He said, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that means the answer is no.
Yes. I mean, there's no chance that he's going to take that vitriol and use that to make him better.
Now with LeBron, bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
With LeBron, we talked about it before the show.
Yeah.
The Cavs and the Heat, I don't remember the records, but they were both right around 500 teams. It was early in the season.
Right,
it was a
right,
December
yeah.
game. And LeBron was phenomenal. He was talking crap to the Cavs bench in the middle of the game. He played out of his mind. And the Heat went like this, and the Cavs went like this.
Yeah.
And the Heat took off.
Not surprisingly.
Yeah, the Heat, like that night, broke the Cavs.
Yeah.
And it bonded the Heat.
Yeah.
And I think the Cavs, that's when I think that started their 10-game losing streak. And then they won one game, and then they lost 26 straight. So they lost like 36 to 37.
The Cavs at the time when they played were 7-10, and the Heat were 11-8. So right around the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
way closer than you would have thought it would be.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it just that night broke the Cavs,
Yeah.
but it bonded the
The
Heat.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Browns are viciously booed in their home stadium. Can that somehow bond this team? I have no idea.
The Heat had a lot of high-level talent.
The Heat,
The Browns don't,
That is correct.
especially at the most important position.
And the Heat were booed in a lot of arenas.
Yeah, right,
Not
right,
just
right.
Cleveland. There's a lot of teams that
Yeah.
didn't like how that came together.
All the neutral fans were angry.
Yeah.
Like, unless you were a Heat fan or just a LeBron fan,
Yeah.
you didn't like it.
Yeah.
I think that was universal, because I remember at the times, and I've said this, like, I was on the air live in New York when he made the decision,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember killing him on the air,
Yeah.
and I had zero connection to Cleveland.
Yeah.
And even though it was only a year and change before I came here at the time, it was not even a thought, but I was angry about it because I just hated the way he did it. But whatever. Anyway, that's old news at this point. What do you think the reaction will be like when he comes back with Philly?
He'll be booed. There'll be cheers.
It'll be a mix, right? And even the boos, I don't think it's certainly not gonna be the vitriol.
No. But there'll be
some angry people.
there will be more boos than he's heard since
with the Heat.
2013.
Yeah.
Because even like in the early, like obviously it was never as bad as the first time.
Yeah.
And he was actually being cheered with Miami by his last appearance here.
Because we thought there was a chance he'd come
because
back.
there was a
Yeah.
chance he was going to come back. And the kid ran out on the court when he was with Miami. The kid came out in the court with like his T-shirt that
Right,
said
that's
"Come
right.
home" or something
Oh,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
and all
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So it was already the momentum was turning. But he'll be booed more this year than he has been probably since 2013.
Yeah.
What if they're 2-0 and they come home for week 3? What do you think the fan reaction, the crowd reaction will be if they're 2-0?
It won't.
They won't boo. There
no,
won't be boos.
I mean there'll be a few, but it'll just be
Well, when are they going to boo him? What? Like,
yeah. I mean there'll just be a few people.
Now,
but it's
if
not
they-
noticeable.
if they're 2-0 and they fall behind 14-0, he throws an interception.
yeah, right,
They're
right,
going to boo him.
yeah.
But I mean,
What are the odds the Browns are 2-0? What do we think?
I don't think it's high.
Who's they play? Who they play the second week? I know they're playing
Tampa.
Baker.
Tampa, right?
Baker,
right.
Baker and Deshaun. And if they're 0-2 and they come home and
Yeah.
he's still the starter, he'll be booed when he runs out on the field.
Oh yeah, especially if he's played. I guess there's a scenario where he could have played well and they lost. but I
Doesn't
doubt
matter.
it.
Doesn't matter. If
Yeah.
they're 0-2, he's getting booed.
Yeah, if he's 0-2 and he's got like 1 touchdown and 4 picks,
It will be bad. If he's still there,
Yeah,
it will be
yeah.
ugly.
what's the spread in week 1? I don't remember. Do we have?
I can
Yeah,
look
it's
it up
out.
for you
I'm
right
gonna
now.
say-
Hold on.
Jacksonville's probably favored by 5-6.
I was going to say 7.5.
Jacksonville's not that good. I'm
Oh.
gonna say 5.5.
And the early line spread is 7.5.
Whoa,
Dang.
good call.
Called
It
that.
opened at 7, moved half a point after the Deshaun announcement.
By the way, that's not like moving from 7 to 7.5 is huge.
When did that move? When they named Deshaun the starter?
It says this week.
Wow.
That's a huge move.
Yeah.
Because moving from 3 to 3.5 or 3 to 2.5 or 7 to 6.5 or 7 to 7.5, that's the biggest move because games, because of touchdowns and field goals.
Right.
So that takes a lot. There must have been a lot of money coming in on the Jaguars for it to move or some big better or whatever. But do we know the look-ahead lines? Like what right now, can you put up the whole Brown schedule for a moment and then we'll take a break, Mike? All right. So So right now, would the Browns be favored in any games? Carolina, like if you had a spread today, like obviously if the Browns start off better, it'll change.
I have, by the way, all the actual look ahead lines.
I'm going to say they are not favored against Carolina.
Carolina would be the close. Well, Pittsburgh. They might be favorite against
I
Pittsburgh.
doubt it.
On a short weekend.
As of right now, they're
Yeah.
1.5 point home dogs to Carolina, 2.5 point home dogs
Yeah.
to Pittsburgh, and
Probably a
2.5
slight dog at the Jets.
They're 2.5 point dogs at the Jets.
What's the next? Let's see, 6 to 10. They're not favored in any of those.
Correct.
They're probably not a big dog at Tennessee,
Tennessee.
but they're
Plus
gonna be,
2.5 right now.
Yeah.
That's more than I
Okay. I mean, home field gets you 2-3 points.
Yeah.
They're not favored in any of the. Oh, they could be favored. Could they be favored against the Vegas at home?
Vegas?
They are favored against Vegas, 2.5.
What about Atlanta?
Wow. No.
They might be favored against Atlanta.
What about against Atlanta, Mike?
Against Atlanta, plus 1.5.
Yeah.
1.5 point
At the
dogs.
Giants, they're a dog. At home against the Bengals, and none of those. So they're only favored in one game right now.
As of right now on FanDuel, correct. Just Vegas.
Jeez.
And if Fernando Mendoza is the real deal, they will. By the time we get to that game,
They'll be a dog.
they'll be a dog.
I mean, all these lines are subject to change. This is
Yeah.
super
Sure.
far out, but
How
as
many
of
games,
right now,
how many
on
games do you
FanDuel.
think? Just go through it one more time. I want to say how many games they're a touchdown or more dog.
I got it. Let's go.
All right, bring it up again.
Touchdown or more is all.
So
You already know
Jacksonville,
one, yeah.
Tampa.
No,
Oh, really?
5.5 Tampa.
Okay, so that's one. None of the rest of them. So it's only one so far.
Baltimore.
Baltimore at home.
6.5 Baltimore home.
Okay, so
Nope.
no. None of those.
Correct.
Okay, so only one that they're 7 or more.
None
No,
of those.
Cincinnati's at home, so it won't. It's at Cleveland. At Baltimore, more than 7.
10.5.
At Cincinnati, more than 7.
That's a TBD line because they don't know who's playing.
Oh,
yet,
yeah.
so.
Okay.
So
So only 2.
All week 17, all week 18 games. Excuse me. Are
All right.
TBD.
So only 2 games, they're more than a touchdown dog already. Obviously, that will change. But all right. When we come back, we're going to change gears. Ralphie Velasquez. Is there anybody hotter than this guy in the minors?